Hi guys, we're back with another episode.
It's Microcementing and Kitchen Planning Week.
Hopefully they're in. So we come up.
So guys, today is full house, busy
As always. But today we have the Microcementing team on site, the team dealing with the bathroom. So we've got Kieran and Jake on site dealing with the bathroom, but we're also here to really tackle kind of our approach to the kitchen and the kitchen counters. And we also will walk you through, Anna will walk you through just a little bit of the foyer design that we mentioned or touched upon in the previous episode. So that will be very nice. And then there's some other anecdotes and issues that we had to contend with. So I hope you enjoy this episode.
Take 3. So we're really excited to get the micro cementing started, and this is pretty much one of the first things we did in the house.
We had to kind of like stagger it almost, because once the team were in to do the microcementing, and that particular room could not be touched for at least a minimum of 2 days while everything dried.
That took a lot of coordination with the other trades, because you know the whole entire room had to be shut down for the microcement to kind of cure and dry.
So it was a lot of coordination. Given that there's such a flurry of activity on site, it was I had to take a lot of perfect planning, because not everyone was happy, but there were so many other jobs for them to look after. So we prioritized areas that we thought, okay, we could push to the end for finishing touches. So it was perfectly fine. And we were also on site to check on a few other things. So we're here to check in on how the progress is going along with the bathroom.
One of my favorite elements of the master ensuite is the feature that we've designed for the toilet. You know us, you know how much we love curvature. So we try to incorporate curvature in each room, and it was only right to, you know, incorporate it in the master ensuite as well. We've created a beautiful curvature on the side that the toilet is going to sit on. And the reason why we've done this is because we've shifted everything in the master ensuite, and everything is like boxed in a sense. So we kind of wanted to bring in that warmth and bringing that kind of softness into the room, and knowing that the rest of the ensuite is going to have, you know, boxed in bathtub, boxed in shower, and we have a beautiful vanity to create some contrast. That feature wall, that curvature wall, works out really well in the room. It kind of softens it down, and you know, it's more welcoming in a sense, you'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. So curves, when you introduce curves into any design, what it does, it creates negative space. So when you're designing, you want to have positive space and negative space. And negative space is essentially space that is more free flowing. So there's more space around the piece of furniture or the wall, near the wall. So by adding that negative space through adding curves, it makes the design feel more balanced. And you know, when you walk into a space and you don't know why you love it, you just don't know why it works, what's working for that room. These are the tiny things that make all of the difference, right? Thinking about where you bring in the curvature, thinking about where you bring in the contrast.
It's geometry, really. You know, you're playing with your shapes, you're playing with so many different aspects, like material wise,
and contrast in both material, contrast in geometry, contrast in not just color and light, but all of these different elements of contrast is what really makes a room feel interior designed.
To also add into what Dil just mentioned, you know, one part of the master ensuite was, you know, heavy. We had the bath, we have the shower, and you know, in order for us to create that balance, we had to create some sort of feature on the other side where the toilet would have been positioned. So in order for us to do that, you know, we decided to kind of create a feature wall, and it has made a massive difference to the overall look of the master ensuite.
Yes, balancing out the space. So if you just had a toilet against that wall, one side of the room, it would have been like lopsided.
Yeah, it would
so
have
the
looked
room,
empty,
and
really.
yeah, so one side would look very heavy and the other wouldn't. So it's kind of like creating anchors on both sides of the room. So one of the other things that we're talking through here with Kieran is, and Kieran is our main guy, by the way.
We love him.
We love him to bits and pieces. This project, you know, we really rely on him for every tiny detail around the reno in every corner of the house. So thank you, Kieran, for having our back. But yes, so Kieran is on site and we're talking through, again, some more details around the shower area. So once again, we had an issue to kind of contend with, and this was with regards to the shower tray. So as mentioned in the previous episode, the bathroom has, well, all over the house really, there is underfloor heating. So when we changed around the plumbing in the bathroom, it meant that we were changing the position of the shower area, and therefore we could not go into the floor to lay the shower tray under the micro cement. So we had to kind of raise it, and in order to kind of make everything work accordingly and where the position of the bath was, we decided to raise the shower, lower the bath, and create a frame around the entire shower zone. Now, knowing that we were ultimately going to put up shower screen and shower door, we thought, why not continue the beautiful emperado all the way around and kind of enclose it like a spa zone? So that was a decision that we had to make because of a design challenge, but actually became a beautiful design feature.
I think that also created like a safe zone for us as well in regards to the shower screen, because you know you create a solid frame,
yeah,
and that just makes it much more easier to kind of fit that
customize,
bespoke shower screen in.
Yeah, because one of the things that I think people don't realize is that no matter how perfect a house can be, there will always be issues with misalignments or the floor not being even or the ceiling not being even. So to get flush finishes can be challenging,
especially when we're talking about precision design.
One of the key things that we're addressing today on site is the kitchen planning. And this is a crucial component to get right early on, because we need to ensure that we're, you know, as mentioned in the previous episode, we were sourcing the Taj Mahal, and we wanted to make sure that we were going to get the right piece and the templating correct. And we needed to, you know, get all of these bits in the pipeline, so to speak. So we needed to ensure that we could get it right.
And also we had to kind of test the existing kitchen out to make sure that, you know, it's fit for the Taj Mahal to actually be fitted in, especially in the edges of the kitchen.
So yeah, within the niche, getting the existing niche out and putting in the Taj Mahal without damaging the units was a bit of a task. What Kieran had to do essentially was test out the strength of the units against the wall, so that any pulling or tugging away from the existing niche wouldn't pull the units off the wall. And if it did, what was the solution going to be? We were just trying to figure out and kind of test what was going to be the best way forward.
The challenge regarding the kitchen was mainly the island, because it has the stove and the extractor on it, and it was just purely planning ahead on how to actually remove them safely in order to remove the existing countertop and to put the Taj Mahal on top of the island.
Yeah, so we had to test it. So we had to have a couple of calls, examine the unit internally, and also chip away from the existing counter to see how challenging it was actually going to be. And I think the end result was that it wasn't going to be as challenging as they thought it was going to be. And also, since we were going to be microcementing the floor, any sort of nicks to the existing floor was going to be okay, and we would be able to tend to it. So all in all, it was a successful testing session, if you can call it that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
this just kind of shows as well, like everything plays hand to hand. You see how a tiny little section of the house, which would be the countertop and the waterfall island, and the fact that, you know, the waterfall is going to meet with the micro cement. So these are just things that we needed to plan accordingly to make sure that the whole project is running smoothly.
The finishes are as seamless as possible, because there's no point in you know, removing a countertop and putting in a beautiful Taj Mahal if it's going to be executed poorly. All of those tiny details had to be thought through well in advance.
That fly through like that, it's just mud, but I don't know if there's any stones or anything under it. Unless we get on a bit of timber or something.
So
Yeah.
one of the interesting, well, it was
funny. It was funny because it was such a scene, really.
It was cold, firstly.
Yeah.
It was raining. It was muddy.
Muddy as hell.
We could not move anything within the house because of the microcement drying.
So we had this bathtub, right, and we had to move it, but it was so heavy, we had no clue how to do it. But thankfully, we had loads of muscle on site.
We actually had to take out the existing bathtub in the ensuite and remove it completely. And by the way, it was really, really heavy, like really heavy. And we couldn't obviously move it within the house, so we had to take it outside. But in order to take it outside, it literally took 6 men.
Yeah.
Muddy. And literally we had to plan everything.
Well, thank God for the muscle, because honestly, I wasn't going to lift that bathtub at all. Not with the jump from inside of the room to the outside, and not with the mud. That was intense. So I know that even though it took 6 men, it was a bit of a sweat. So that was really funny to watch. So we deal with really crappy situations all the time, right? And we have to just be really quick thinking. And especially because this first phase deadline was pre-Christmas, meant that some of the products that we even had selected initially or spec'd initially had to be swapped out, because the lead times was just intense, especially being that it's leading up to Christmas. We had designed this really beautiful bed that we wanted to be made bespoke by the right type of craftsman. And we initially wanted it to be St. James. Then because of timeline, we went with a different supplier. And on this particular day, we had some really awful news about the master bedroom bed.
So one of the things that we have to excel at is problem solving, and we just had a phone call about the master bed for the master bedroom, and we initially had a supplier who was going to be custom making it, but the guy that does the fabrication, his father passed away, which threw a spanner in the works. Naturally, we had to pause the process, which luckily we didn't start with them yet. And so we leaned on to another supplier who we would have preferred to have gone with in the first place, just because from a quality perspective, they really, really phenomenal joiners. But yeah, so the issue that we have is that the finish of this particular bed is going to take, the veneer of the bed is going to take at least 3 weeks. We don't have 3 weeks to wait for the veneer because the bed needs to be made. So if we stick to the timeline, that means the bed is only going to be ready mid-January, and we need it to be ready to late December before Christmas. So we're just trying to figure that out at the moment.
So guys, whilst we're here, I thought it's a good idea to kind of walk you through on the foyer and to kind of show you guys what the thought process was and how it's looking at the moment and what it's going to look like after we're done with it. At the moment, we are literally just at the phase of ripping everything out, and the contractors are also here. So if you do see people, they're here to do the magic. So follow us through. As you can see, as soon as you enter, you are introduced to this beautiful room with a large window at the back. And to be honest with you, I think that is a feature of the foyer or the waiting room. We love the fact that it's dark. We love the fact that it's so moody, and we actually wanted to keep it dark, but obviously not as dark as it is right now. But because of the entire house being lime washed and having that calm tone feeling, like that zen area, which the client wanted, we kind of wanted to create a statement with this foyer. And we are so thankful because the client decided to go with the most sickest design. So let me explain to you what's actually going to happen in this room. Starting from the entrance, all these slabs are coming off, and we are micro-cementing the floor, and we are painting the ceiling in a lime wash paint, but it's going to be color matched to the units. So we have designed a curvature structure throughout this room. So we are going to have curvature structure here, and then it's going to continue throughout, all around the space. And the intention of this design was to create a very smooth, easy flowing, welcoming entrance. And as I said before, this is the main entrance, so as soon as you walk into this house, this will be the first room that you're introduced. So we wanted to create that feeling of a statement, you know. In these two sections, what we've created is we've created a bench made out of the tile that we're using throughout the house, the Emperor tile. We've created a statement bench here. Obviously the walls are going to be curved. The intention was to create a hidden storage on both sides of the main front entrance. So it's not really a dead space. The client can use it as they wish. Also on the other side as well, there will be a built-in storage near the door, so the curvature is going to come around. There's going to be a storage here for the shoes, so you know, guests come over, there's space for everything, and everything is made intentionally and it's well thought out. So the company that we've actually picked, they are called St. James Company, and they are an amazing company who do joineries to the best quality. I knew the vision that we had, we needed a specific type of company that can actually make these structures in the most smoothest way.
Thank you for watching, guys. Once again, if you enjoyed today's episode, give us a like, and if you love following along, then do subscribe so you know when the next episode is out. Next week, there's more activity and progress at the house, all gearing up for phase 1, and we're looking at joinery, templating, and deliveries. So stay tuned and see you next week.
But also, sorry, edit.